Okay, so it all looks hideous, but it kind of works quite well. Now I need to get back to thinking about the get nearest methods that exist for the snap classes. And I go back to my recursor source, inside the work zone, inside work of the work zone. This is the method that's called by the GUI to make sure that the worktop, the actual editing display, is updated. In here is where I'm updating which snaps are available, are in existence. And actually I think I'm going to just change the way this works slightly. First off, I'm going to take away all this because that's from the old days, and this works. What I'd done is I had removed the grid snap from the current snap list. What did I call it? Something idiotic? Probably. I can't even see what I called it. Snaps. There it is. And really the way this works is it will, so far, it will make sure that any required angle and length snaps exist under the current circumstances. Yeah. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add to it, just prior to this part, a little bit about the grid snap, because I think I do want the grid snap inside the list of snaps, just to clean up. Okay, hang on. The very first thing I'll do is I'll clear the list, because under any circumstances this method, this method should now create an accurate snap list. Whatever state the snap list comes into this method with, it should go out with the correct information. And here it's project grid snap equals true. Project snaps add last new grid snap. It's not seeing it with the night, and that is project grid snap size, comma, project grid snap size. If this or selected, okay, yeah, no, that's fine. So, what happens? It comes, first off, what's the problem with this? Grid snap size. I need another close bracket. So set snaps now just clears the snaps completely. If there is a grid snap, it adds it. If there's nothing else, then it just bails on the function, the method. Otherwise, it makes sure that the correct other parts exist. So now down here, where I say mouse dragging snaps clear, I'll just go back, I'll make this now set snaps. Because the snap list doesn't the snap list now contains the grid as well. So if I hang on a moment, That's not. I'm not quite right about this. I have to figure out the logic a bit better. Because, well, do I? Yeah, I don't want to. Sorry for being hesitant. I'm just thinking now. This is the way I want it to work. I want to be able to call set snaps at any time and it make an accurate list of snaps, but this logic doesn't quite bear out at this moment. Because this is not so much about... let me think for a moment. The only circumstances that selected vert are null are actually when the program's first run. After that, you will have selected something. It won't allow you to remove corners until there's nothing left. So something, and every time you remove something, it automatically selects the next sort of either path control point or corner if you've removed if there's only one control point left for a corner. Da-dee-da-dee-da. So this almost never happens, but I do have to have it there because I use selected vert here to figure things out, to figure out how far through the animation, currently, how far through, da-dee-da. I can't be bothered explaining it all again. To myself, it's so boring. I do have to think, though. Because if this is to be called at any time, it is like the mouse state is the thing that really has to be taken into consideration. I don't much like doing it this way, but I am going to do it this way. Return. Dragging or equals null return. Well, I don't much like it, but it does allow me to do this, because it's really only when you're dragging that any length and angle snaps will be visible anyway. So really I do want to clear it, add a grid if it's there, bail if there's no length or angle snaps visible or activated, and bail even if there is angle snaps or length snaps active, if you're not dragging or there's nothing selected, they still don't appear. So so I guess that is good enough. And that means that down here, if you're dragging, but if you're in a dragging state, but you're actually not pressing the button anymore, because you have to press the button to enter the dragging state, you go back to normal, the snaps get refigured. So if you've got a grid, it'll be added and so on and so forth. Now, the other thing that has to happen is in here. At the moment, selected vert xy plus mouse speed. Let me, before I do anything else, I wonder if I can still run it. I think I can. And I'm hoping that it will still just automatically... I just realised something. Well, I'll run it anyway and see what it looks like. Just realised something, and I gasped when I realised it. Okay, right. Well, that bit's still working anyway. At the moment, only length snaps. If I switch this on, it does work. Huh. But what happened there? I got another one. I'm drawing this slightly transparent. There are now 2 grids. Am I able to add more? Okay, right. So, the problem is that gadget does an extra piece of work that it doesn't need to do now. If I scroll up through my horrible code and find recursor toggle grid snap. Okay, then it goes to refresh GUI. I fairly jump around all over the place here. Okay. So, actually I think what I can do is I can ram out that and I can just say work zone set snaps. I think. I don't need that really, it's just a check. It's rarely called. This bit. Maybe somehow one day I'll remove the work zone even though it's instantiated when the cursor is opened. Just anyway. It's absurd. Oh, check it out, baby. Okay, well that's really... It's because I'm looking for the grid snap. I don't even have to check, I know where it is. It is in Finish Draw. In Finish Draw, I say if project grid snap, then do it. No, that's not it, because I'm checking. Okay, well, I'll have to, well, one thing is I didn't check, stick the debugger on again, so let's get some more. I don't need to do that anymore, because the grid snap is one of the snaps in the snap list, but it's still going to crash, I think, because I was checking that to see. So, let's see. Right, don't like that. Don't like the fact it worked that time, not sure why. That, oh, I really don't like that actually. I didn't think that would work. Let me see though. Grid on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, on. Grids, loads of snapping. It seems to work again. I'm not very happy, obviously, but, well, I am happy really. I'm happy that it works. Not happy that I don't know why it would ever not work. Okay, so it looks like that does work. And it's clearing that list of snaps, and I'm not taking any other references to the snaps. So I'm going to assume that I'm not leaking memory all over the place for now. Assume. Check me assume things. Okay, so now one of the reasons that's nicer is that inside work, chick. The best thing I could do to improve these videos is get a new mouse. And do a load of training as well, but I'm not doing that. Inside here, this is where it grabs and moves the vert. The thing I'm going to do when I've finished this is change the names of a lot of these components. They're not verts, they're not vertices. They are control points on a corner. Anyway, for the time being, this is what it does. If you've pressed down the mouse button while the mouse button is inside the work zone, and there is a covered vert, as said here. If you're in normal state, the left mouse button goes down, there's a covered vert, the selected vert becomes the covered vert, and you go into dragging mode, and the snaps get updated. In dragging mode, as long as the left mouse button is still held down, and there is a selected vert and selected corner, this, yeah, I put a little error in here, because if this happens, that's really weird, somehow dragging without a vert. Anyway, so you're in dragging, you still have the mouse button held down, there is definitely a selected vert. It gets moved by the speed of the mouse last frame, scaled by the zoom of the worktop. So that is, I need a little bit inside that, or just before that. In fact, it needs to be kind of different. Something about grabbing little blobs on a worktop is that you pick them up at a point and you drag them around by that point, and when you release them they stay at the position they appeared to be in when you released the mouse pointer. Very obvious thing to say. But like when I grab that at the lower left, lower right sort of quadrant, it stays there relative to the mouse pointer. If I grab it in the middle, it doesn't suddenly leap. And in fact, if it wasn't like that, the minute I picked it up, it would leap to something, like it would leap to the position of the mouse pointer, if you see what I mean. Like if I just said, make this corner equal the position of the mouse pointer, just clicking on a point would make it jump. So that's no good. And up till now, I've got away with just adding the speed of the mouse pointer to the position of the selected thing, and that's worked okay. But now I want the thing as it appears on screen to leap to nearby snap points. And then when you move, for the time, what I'm coding in is the sort of proximity snapping as opposed to the strict snapping. And when you move away from the proximity of one of those snap points, I want it to come back to the mouse pointer. But I want it to come back to the mouse pointer in the same relative position as it started. Like if I move this across the screen, it might pop away from the pointer as it approaches nearby snap points. But then I want it to pop back to the pointer and in the same place. If I don't do it that way, if I pick up a point, if I've positioned a point with snapping off, then I turn snapping on, and I just pick up a point without moving it, and it happens to be nearby a snapping point, it will leap to that snapping point. Yes, that's right. But then if I move away from the snapping point to free it again, to put it in a position where it's not close enough to any snapping point to beat it, I want it to be at the same position in the mouse. In fact, as I was saying, as I slide it past, it has to stay the same position relative to the mouse pointer. So while I've got away with just moving it by the mouse speed, that's not what has to happen anymore. I think I need to store an extra vector, which will be the handle of the object as you've picked it up from the screen, which is actually a bit of a pain in the butt, isn't it? Because I don't bother collecting any information at the moment, at this point where you first press down. And what I know is the position of the mouse pointer on the screen. And inside this check position this check position method, what am I really doing? Yeah. X and Y. Check position X, Y. Okay. This sense size equals that. Corners, verts, less than sense size, do this. Right. So I'm sending in an X and a Y, and it's using the actual position of the vert, that is to say the untransformed position of the vert, to do the comparison. Mouse X, mouse Y. Right. Okay, there. That's the inverse transformation. I'm sorry, again. IX is a matrix, isn't it? It is, it's the inverse X. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. Again, unfamiliarity with my own code. Yeah, matrix has a get X and get Y. Excuse my stupidity. For basically for doing exactly that. putting a single point through the matrix and getting one of the components out. Dearie me. So yes, I am transforming the mouse pointer into world coordinates. That's fine. Maybe I will just do that out here. I was sort of doing it before, I think, and I'd probably mouse screen. Yeah, look at that. In fact, boy oh boy, that's a good thing. Now I can just say IX. Hang on. Hang on. I should use this thing more than I do, as you can see here. I'm just not. I'll use it more. This mouse S belongs to the worktop. I was hesitating there because I'm thinking, okay, no, this is fine. Mouse X I have, mouse screen I have, so I take the inverse matrix in this worktop, the inverse one being the one that takes me from screen to world, and I say transform vector, but it's the kind that has an output, and I put in mouse screen and I take out mouse world. So now mouse world is the world coordinates of the mouse. Now I should be able to go back into finish draw, where I'm doing that, and I did it immediately prior to this because I knew I needed it there, but that's not the right place to transform the mouse vector from screen to world. I think the right place is in work. My little doubt. Oh, what? Don't. No, no, that should be vector. Sorry, my mistake. My little bit of doubt is that now this happens prior to this, and in this I update the matrix. I should probably that is there's another point where I update the matrix as well, isn't there? It is here. When mouse state is scrolling, I update the matrix. And I think that updating the matrix is actually the position. No, it's not. It really isn't. Oh, I hate things like this. What order should I do things in so that the right stuff is right at the right time? But let's see what basically does make sense. Probably it makes almost no difference. It's like, what would happen right now if I ran it? Let's see. I don't think very much. 23 minutes. This has mainly been a thinking time, really, hasn't it? Okay. What I'm trying to figure out is it sort of scrolling and everything one frame behind? Yeah, You see that? Like, I do find it hard to figure out just logically what the order of events is. But if I, just for the sake of it, rem that out. Oh. Really, okay. And unrem that out so that I do get the right. Let me just run it again. What I'm trying to see is, do I have any perception that this is happening a frame slow? Oh, no, 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 stop, stop, stop. It's all wrong. Oh, that is what I meant, unrem. Okay, I have no perception of difference there at all. Like, the mouse sampling happens at a different rate to the screen refresh, I believe, so it's never going to be... I don't notice much difference. I wonder if it's going to cause problems for me. I don't think it is. I don't think. I basically have no idea. So now, anytime this has worked, the mouse position is updated to the most recent matrix, but then within here, the matrix may actually change. The position of the mouse on the screen is only updated whenever this has worked. I think that's okay too. I don't really like the fact that I'm in doubt about this, like a lot of things, and that doubt just slows me down. Maybe I'll just put in one of these things. And I'll say means mouse world chords out of sync. That row of asterisks is like a... I'm not totally consistent with it, but it's like a blue beam going up into the sky, and I am like Batman or someone. I'm Batman in this, and I see that and know this means bloody problems. I've got similar things there haunting my dreams. Anyway. Okay, so means mouse world corners out of sync, question mark. But I think one thing that might help. Nah, that won't make a lot of difference. I was going to say, if I actually update this to use mouse world X and Y. Mouse world X and mouse world Y. I assume that will continue to work. So that's a thing I've done. The other thing that I need to store, the reason it took taken me a long time to get back to this, but I need to store, I think, a handle, an offset from the center of the selected object, which is the difference between the mouse XY and the actual object itself. So somewhere around about here, what I'm saying, this kind of thing which has grown a bit, these probably should be other types of mouse state. In fact, I'm sure they should, so that you're actually dragging, avert, scrolling, moving output, scaling output. No, that is right, that is what you're doing. No, that's not what I mean. I mean the controls should be something more generic, so that you can be in a dragging state, but the thing you're dragging is just a control. And the fact you're dragging control, you pass some sort of, you should call a drag control method or something, and it knows what it is it's got to move according to that. But that's not what I'm going to bother doing, because I don't know how much more is going to be added. But this is going to be added, and it's going to be drag handle, and it's going to be a G vector, and it's going to be a new G vector. Will forever exist. Set vert set mouse world and selected vert I oh, my mic went out there for a second. I saw it. That's how touchy it is. And then I put it out deliberately to stifle a cough, and it automatically switched it on. It's on again halfway through the cough. That's it doing it again. It goes into a touchy mood. Sorry. Subtract drag handle. Now, if I've made that work correctly, this should function exactly as it did before, but I'm not adding the speed, I'm setting it to be the position and offsetting it by the original drag handle. We'll soon see. Come along. I like to think that this is helping it compile faster. I always wonder what on earth that little thing have I asked it to do that I didn't last time, and it seems to take a long time to compile. But anyway, here we go. First thing I'm going to do is just new. Yeah. Okay, well, firstly, it instantly looks like that did work, because there's basically no change to the functioning. Even though I'm now no longer just moving this by the speed, I'm setting it to be. And that's much better. Now. No. So I am going to get rid of that. I prefer this. But also now I still have to sort of interrupt here. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to make some remarks. Go through. Come back, Mike. That's really okay. Between my mic and my mouse wheel. Go through snaps. Find nearest snap. And what that means, for each snap I find the nearest, and then I find the nearest of the nearest. And I see if it's within a snap radius. And if it is, I set the selected vert to be that. And if it isn't, I leave it where it is. So what I'll say is I'll say local, this may not be a local for long, but I say local VP for vert position, G vector. G vector. Sorry, let me have a little look at how I do this get nearest again. Yeah, I have an input and it sets an output. So always on the way in I can send mouse world, and VP I can check on the way out. Okay, and min_dist for minimum distance, float equals, how do I start this off, -1 or something? I'm just local current snap equals each in snaps. Then what happens? I say current snap get nearest okay, hang on a sec. Local. I really don't like this, but I suppose it just has to be. Current position and vector position. No, vector position and closest. Snap position and closest position equals new g vector. I don't really need to store minimum distance. It'll just stop me. It would save me having to do a bunch of square root functions, but I'm hardly going to have to do anyway. I'll just forget about minimum distance. Call it closest point. Get nearest mouse in the world and set snap point. Then I say it's basically I'm saying if the distance to this snap point is less than the distance to the closest snap point, then it takes on, then the closest snap point takes on this snap point's value, which is fine. Is it? Ugh, God, I gotta think this through. This is, you know, the times when focusing is really difficult. One moment. In fact, my dog's barking, and time is at 38. I've got a good way through this. This bit's good. This bit I still need to figure out the logic. So I am going to leave it at that just now, and I'm going to come back and finish off this snapping shortly.